Okunnu-Lamidi. Khadijah, you're most welcome to the African Leadership Group, the Nigerian Leadership Series. Thank you for accepting to be part of this program.
Thank you, Pastor Ito. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Okay. So you've been on the hustings and you've been running campaign for a few months now. Maybe you want to tell us how it has been and a little bit more about yourself and also why you decided to jump into the fray.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me once again. Okay, my name is Khadijah. I have declared to run for the 2023 presidential elections. It's quite, people will say it's quite a feat. However, I feel like it's just the right time. They say time and chance happens to everyone and everything. I think it's almost just the right time for us to, as a people, decide to birth a new Nigeria. I represent the major constituencies in Nigeria, which are the women and the youth. It's been a long time coming. We have everything that we require, everything that is needed, but we have constantly left the political space due to, I would say, fear, because there's a lot of fear that has been perpetuated in that space. But we've left it for other people to manage. And not because we didn't think, we were capable of doing it, but I think it's more of the fact that we were more interested in building our spheres, our fields of industry, and where we thought, we could build capacity uniquely and individually. However, politics happens to everybody. If you do not partake in it, it would come to you regardless. I have, worked across, different fields. I've worked in the government, and I believe that while I was there was when I realized that there's a huge gap. There are, little gaps. There are things we're doing right, no doubt, but there are little gaps which we have left undone for so long. And that was a learning curve. I then decided, to start my own business, which is my media company that I currently run. I'm recently stepping aside for political reasons. So these are some of the, things that I've got myself into in terms of building capacity, in terms of wealth building, in terms of, just all around political education for myself and for everyone around me as I go along the journey. I have learned a lot on the journey. I have, through the past, I'll say 3-4 dispensations, I've been around, I've been learning, I've been, in the corners or corridors of power, if you want to call it that way. However, I also do understand that access to power is actually a responsibility. It's not just a privilege that you take for granted. Growing up, that was one of the things that was indoctrinated in me for so long, that I understand that your access to power or your access to your privilege, your educational background, your value system is supposed to be added to the polity, supposed to be part of what makes nation building. We're not allowed to use that for our personal use only. And it was through these, I would say, mind-boggling moments in life that I decided to, get into the political space. And it wasn't something that I was able to come to terms with for a long time. I know I'm not supposed to be, too spiritual here, but yes, it was, I would say it's a call to duty. And it was just a call that I am committed to answering. I think that's the best term to use for that. So jumping right into it, I understand I'm starting to, learn as we go along, learn on the job. And I understand the role of governments. And like this topic that we're speaking about, running for office, my candidacy is Thank you. My candidacy is, what's the word? It's supposed to endear and develop a national consciousness for the use of the youth in politics. Youth participation seems to be at an all-time low, and mostly because I believe the polls and the election process has been quite uninspiring. If you look at the polls for the past few years, it's really been uninspiring. You don't see anything that makes you want to fight for or makes you want to be a part of. This is the reason why there's voter apathy. It's not because people don't really want to vote or they don't want to come out. It's because there's been really nothing that has inspired us or moved us to the point where we want to go and fight for it. And then there's another question that I get asked all the time. Why start from the presidency? Like I said, yes, it's a calling, it's a call to duty, no doubt. However, when you think about it, there's been no president of the country that has ever been a governor, that has ever been a senator, that has ever been an SA or a House of Rep member. There's been none. So, creating this yardstick or creating this benchmark now because it's a challenging candidate or is a challenging aspirant it shows that there is a bias in the system. Apart from the fact that, I'm a woman, which is glaring, it's also the fact that I'm representing the youth, and the youth are always meant to be quote unquote docile in these situations. But the truth is, none of the presidents we've had so far have ever served in any other capacity apart from presidency. So I'm here not to become a career politician, but to serve. Now, the service in this manner requires us to disrupt the system. The system needs to be disrupted all the way from the top, because if you're going to rearrange and put round pegs and round holes, you need to do that right from the top. You need political will, you need organization, you need alignment for these things to happen. Most of the people that should be in government, this is a call for them to get up. This is a call for them to decide to come into the space and to serve their country. This is a call. I mean, if we all decide to build our own or cut our own little spaces in a ship, the ship is going to sink. It's the only way we can survive is a collective effort and a collective goal, collective mission. So this is where I'm coming. It's not self-serving. I could have decided to stay, in my own little corner, in my own cushion, and there'll be absolutely no. I believe that it will come, no doubt. There'll be people that will keep coming to inspire us. But I want to be part of those people. I want to be one of those people. And this is the reason why I have joined in the race, and we're running a victory campaign where, in terms of funding, I think that's another question that comes up. We're crowdfunding. We might not have the war chest, quote unquote, because we're not fighting a war. We might not have the monies that people have access to, other politicians, but that's because maybe we don't have access to the resources of the country. But the resources of the country are supposed to be for the people of the country, not for a selected few. So we're not bothered about, that's not a hindrance. We're going to crowdfunding. The crowdfunding is really for staffing, for travel, for merchandising, we're not running a campaign to buy votes. We're not running a campaign to pay for, try to silence people's voices. No, we're running a campaign to, to pass the message of light and hope and restoration to the people of Nigeria. The fact that they see a government should look like people. Your government should look like you. It shouldn't look like 3% of the population who are the people who are really in charge. They're only 3% of the population. It's almost impossible for them to lead 97% of people who they do not understand. There are no shared values, no shared goals. There's a huge gap, and I believe that my generation and many generations in between we all exist out there, and we are the gatekeepers of what Nigeria, the old Nigeria, is. We benefited from the education system. Yes, there was ASU. I had the ASU strike affect me, but we benefited. We benefited a little bit from Nigeria. The youth of now have, Nigeria absolutely has done nothing for them. So I believe it is a duty, it is a responsibility for us to stand and be gatekeepers. We can't leave the gate open for, for people to just run through, people who have no good intentions for the country. And this is why I'm standing, not because there's no fear, not because there are no times of doubt, but because I know that it's the right thing to do, and I know Nigerians will benefit one way or the other from my standing up, from my candidacy.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you think you will win, and what are your strategies for winning, and where do you think you'll be going? What are your strategies for winning, and any anxieties at all? I'm sure you do have anxieties. It's not an easy task that you're taking on. So do you think you'll win, and what are your strategies for winning, and which party are you running on?
Okay. Yes, Pastor Itwa, we will win by God willing. And we're running a victory campaign. Winning, comes in so many forms. And apart from getting the position and winning the elections, winning is the Nigerian people winning. Winning is creating a legacy of where Nigerians understand and take back their power. Winning is the office of the citizen becoming the most important and the highest office of the land. Those are the wins that I look at when I talk about winning. The strategies is, when you talk about strategy, at the end of the day, the people are the ones with the power. And once the people understand that the reason why they don't have access to healthcare, the reason why the education system is so poor, the reason why security is at an all-time low is because they have not been, they have not been using their voices in the right way. When you think about, vote buying and all these things, they keep us in a perpetual cycle of poverty. They keep us in a perpetual cycle of confusion. We have not been able to organize, and organizing is a strength. Organizing is what we need as a country to move forward, to become a world power. Most of the world powers have absolutely nothing but organization as their skill. If you are not able to organize yourself and organizing actually requires a lot of discipline. It requires you to understand your role, play your role adequately, and not hinder other people's role. This is what you call live and let live. It's not do or die. Now, so this strategy is to ensure that we have a grand coalition. A grand coalition means a small amount or a little group of politicians are not going to oppress the majority anymore. We're not going to allow that to happen. A small group of politicians cannot run the affairs of the majority. Everybody in the political space in Nigeria right now is a minority. And we need to identify that the interest groups, the political groups, the business industry, the manufacturing, everybody has an interest group, and everybody is a minority. The idea that one political party or the other is a majority is a farce. And we need to start understanding that minorities can come together to form a majority. So you cannot have one minority imposing their ideas on the majority who are in little silos. So we need to find ourselves and we need to come together and form a grand coalition, but it must be on a foundation of ideology. It's no longer on a foundation of just come together to extract power or come together to win power from it. No. That is not sustainable, as you can see. So we need to get to the point where we decide and we all find each other. We have conversations. Nigerians are not listening to each other. Maybe we're not talking enough. And so my candidacy is bringing the conversation to the national stage. It's bringing it to the fore. Let's talk about these things. It's not a taboo to talk about politics. Everybody cannot align the same way. Everybody doesn't have to align the same way. You are allowed to have your own idea. You're allowed to have your own ideology. This is what a democracy is about. And so this is the strategy. The strategy is not we don't have any, strategy that is not pro-people. We don't have any strategy that is, how do you put it? A corner street that is not straightforward. No, all our strategies are straightforward. They are designed for the people. They are driven by the people, and they are for the people. We are still we're still in conversations with political parties, but like I mentioned, we do not want the divisions. That's why we're running as an independent. We don't want those division lines that they've used several times to divide us: gender, party, ethnicity, religion. All these things are irrelevant to my campaign. I embody every single Nigerian. I embody every single ethnic group. I embody every single religion. I embody every single gender. And these are the most important things that we require as a country. The division lines just keep us, as usual, disorganized. They're only put in line to disorganize us, to ensure that we stay apart and the 3% can continue ruling. Divided division, divided you win, you rule, divided. A divided nation can easily be ruled, but a unified nation is what will be governed. And we need governance now. There's no time for ruling party or no ruling party, no. It's time for us to organize, for us to actually become the world power that we are. So we are talking to a few political parties, and I can tell you categorically, except the APC and the PDP, because we do not align in terms of value system, in terms of the way things have been done so far. So these are parties that we do not align with. So we're speaking to all the other minority parties, if you want to call them that, but the minority parties are built on ideology at the end of the day. Nigeria doesn't have to be a two-party state. It doesn't have to be a one-party state. There's no country in the world that is a two-party or a one-party state. So this is the reason why, because people need to have a voice, and people need to understand what their voice can do. Thank you. So these at some point we will talk and announce the party that we choose, and the party is going to be one. We understand that we cannot decamp. We are not going to jump from one party to the other. So it has to be, we're making an informed decision of the party to join, and we would announce it once that is right. We understand we're going to do that quite soon, Kasweto.
Okay, Khadijah, thank you very much for your courage. Somebody was saluting your courage and everything just now. What do you think is wrong with Nigeria? And how are we going to fix the problem of Nigeria and take Nigeria to where it should be? I was reading something about China recently. By the way, let me thank everyone who's given us immense support at the African Leadership Group. People are already sending in their donations and their contributions. We're very grateful. We're determined to push this movement forward, this movement that will ensure there's good governance in Nigeria, this movement that will ensure that everybody can participate, this movement that will ensure that everyone plays a role in transforming Nigeria. We're thankful for our partnership with the Rebuild Nigeria initiative and all the other initiatives that are coming on board with us as well. You know, we really must transform Nigeria. We must encourage the right kind of leadership to take control of affairs in this country, and that's what we're pushing for. So we want everybody to please contact us by internet to be members of the leadership group and to also make their donations and their funding available. And we will do also support people who are running for office, whose ideology we agree with and who we think have the competence and the ability to do what we need to do. Nigeria must change. Nigeria must be great again, and that's why we're having these conversations. Back to you, Khadijah. You need to let me know what you think the problem is with Nigeria. What do you think why the young people have not come together to really drive a serious and aggressive movement, and how you intend to reach the youth? Why the women too? Women are 51% of our population, I'm told. If you all decided what you wanted out of Nigeria, I'm sure Nigeria would respond. And then finally, what you think we need to do to have a great Nigeria. And shortly after that, I'll be opening up the space for questions from people who would like to ask you a few questions. So I don't know if you got my questions or if I asked you too many questions.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, Professor Itwa. Well, the issues with youth participation, like I spoke about earlier, are, are the issue of inspiration. I think for years on end, we've not had inspirational leadership. And it's been a situation where people, it's almost, I understand culture plays a role in this, but leadership is not handed down. It's not something that is, that has to do with age or gender or timing. It's the ability to use and properly use and flex your leadership muscles. It requires character. It requires your ability to defend and speak for, in any situation. Like they say, an injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere, is a threat to justice everywhere. So you don't wait until it happens to you, or you think, oh, it's coming close to me, before you speak for when you see injustice. So these are the reasons why the youth, like I say, my generation are the bridge, I believe, because in my generation, I went to school, I went to a staff school, and in school, I was in class with the children of the drivers and the children of the cleaners in school, because their children were able to access bursaries. But what was most important at that time is that we went through an induction, would I call it an indoctrination or an orientation? There was a national orientation. This was around the time when the pledge was being indoctrinated into schools. So regardless of your background, there was an ideological fit in what you believe Nigeria was or Nigeria is. So we all pledged to be patriotic citizens. We all pledged to stand as gatekeepers of the country, regardless of the time, regardless of the background, regardless of the where you fit in the political space or in the social space. So these were some of the unique attributes of my generation and generations before me, after me, give or take. And so what we were able to have is there was a general idea of what Nigeria is. And we have been able to, this is what has produced me. This is what has produced many like me who are out there, who might not be able to, might have not decided to use their voices, but they are using their voices wherever they find themselves. And the reason why it is different now is because there's been a gap. There's a gap, the private schools, the public schools, there's a huge gap. So you are not able to have this national thinking, this national ideological conditioning. You're not able to. So there are some things you speak about that the children of the less privileged cannot understand, they cannot share the ideology with you. And this is what disintegrates a society. These are the issues that do not allow the fits. And what is the job of the government? What is the job of the presidency, if you want to put it so, is to inspire, is to align everybody's, would I call it imagination, towards a unified goal, a unified purpose, a unified a system that would create a product for us to, negotiate on the for us to negotiate when it comes to as a country, as a unit. We need to have a product, which is Nigeria. When you go to the global table of negotiations, this is what you negotiate. This is who we are. This is what we can do. This is what we offer. And this is what we want. We need to become the world power that we are, because we have the numbers, we have the resources, we have everything that is required. We just need to organize going forward. And this is what the youth require now. So, like I mentioned, it's not a thing that comes with age. It's not a thing that comes with, it's not, you don't wait in line for you to become a leader. You just jump, at the end of the day, it's to jump off the cliff. And so once you're able to jump off this cliff and you know that, okay, you know what, regardless of what happens, I have the skills, I have the know-how, I have I have the ability to inspire for us to build a landing pad or build a soft landing before you land. That is what inspires other people to take that jump. And a country, for a united country, for a developed country, for a developing country, these are the skills that are required. So the youth, I believe now, this candidacy is not a singular candidacy, mind you, Pastor Itoa. We are finally forming our alliances. So the House of Rep seats are up for election. The Senate seats are up for election. The gubernatorial seats are up for election. This candidacy is telling every youth out there that you do not need permission. You don't need anyone to tell you, no, now you can go run. Now you are a Nigerian, you're backed by the Constitution. If you do have something to offer the people, if you do have something to, what you want to serve, how you want to serve your country, it is your responsibility. We cannot want to enjoy the rights of good education, good roads, good healthcare, and not take the responsibility part. There's a responsibility that comes if you want to enjoy the rights. Right now, we're not performing, we're not doing our responsibilities. Why the rights are being yanked from us left, right, and center. And also, that's for the youth. I believe that once the youth find inspiring candidates on the ballots, when they find inspiring candidates that they share common values, they went to school with, they know their background, they know their family, or they go, they can find, there's somewhere you can find a meeting point, a united point. They would come out, they would then know that this government looks like me, this government represents me, they speak to my needs, they speak to my concerns. Then they will feel inspired to say, you know what, we're going to go out. And that's when you see that you split the votes. And then you now only the candidates with the right, if you want to put it, the right goals, the right message for the people would take it. It's no longer a money game or politics of money. Money becomes irrelevant, and which it has already. And then when you talk about the women, women, I think we've been walking around with a disability that doesn't exist. I think we've been conditioned for so long that we are not capable of ruling or of governing or of taking leadership roles. But we do that every day in our daily lives. We are people who are built for, we we multitask. This is a skill of the woman. I'm not sure how true that. I hear men can only do one task at a time, but women do multiple tasks at a time. And this is something that we are built with, we're blessed with, if you want to put it that way. So this skill, we must harness it this skill, we must harness it as a power. And if women are not at the table, you're not making the right decisions. Women come into government or come into leadership roles primarily to serve, because women think generations ahead. We think, because of the fact that we are people who bring bring life, it's a process. We understand the process, we understand the intricacies of the process, we understand the risk of the process, but we still choose to. And this is something that is beneficial to all sectors of the economy, including politics. And the politics is one part that I feel like we have not. That is why we are where we are. Since 1960, we've had only male presidents. We've had mostly male governors, I believe. I think all male governors, actually. And still, we are where we are. So it's only right that, since the woman is synonymous with sustainability, we are at a crossroads, and it takes a woman to carry us to the next line of action, to the next, would you call it, the next phase of nation building. It won't be done, most likely won't be done by a man. It will be done by a woman. So it's time for the women, and the women are actually ready. In all sectors of the economy, we're doing wonderful things. It's time to bring that energy and help. We're helping the system. We're not here to take over. We're helping. A balance can only bring balanced judgments, balanced thinking. It can only bring sustainability in action. It can only bring, create a government that is thinking, a thinking government really, thinking of the children, of the unborn. So this is where the women.
I'm going to ask you. Well, first of all, let me let you know that a lady called Mrs. Etiaba was governor of Anambra State for a few months the other day. And by the way, our present president, Buhari, was governor of a few states in the north as a military governor some time ago, just to bring that little information your way. What I want to know really at this point in time is, what is wrong with Nigeria, and what are the principal things you think we need to do to fix Nigeria? Very, very briefly. Then I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then I'm going to open the floor for other people to ask you questions. I'm sure quite a few people are dying to ask you questions. Somebody did say, and you may want to speak to that one of the aspirants, one of your competitors, has been to the National Assembly to seek for their support. Are you going to do the same? I think somebody too has been around all the chiefs and all the obas in at least Western Nigeria and so on and so forth. Is that necessary? Is that a good strategy? But more importantly for me now, what are the things we need to do in Nigeria to have a better society?
Okay. First things first, I believe that the country is not, our country's government is not fit for purpose. We have, there are many functions and many parts of the government, that are not the primary areas and duties of government that we're not fulfilling. Thank you. Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes. So what we need to do to accelerate development would be, I would call it on unemployment. We need to fix the unemployment. There are 3 areas that we'll concentrate on in our government. That would be security, education, and health. Now, we do need education. To me, education comes in so many forms. We have to look at it in the likes of we need a skilled economy. There's a skills gap, and this is what causes a lot of the insecurity we see. This is what causes a lot of the wrong public servants in different places where insecurity as we see it. We see the health sector deteriorating. We see even the primary function of government, which is to protect, is deficient as well. So I believe that there are so many aspects of it, but if we keep it at those three, everything is intertwined. So we need job creation is going to be done by the private sector. The government is not going to provide jobs, but the government is going to provide the enabling environment for the private sector and for entrepreneurs and for all these people to provide jobs for provide jobs for the people. Now, this enabling environment include energy, tax breaks, tax holidays, all these things, and they help with the manufacturing industry. They help with every aspect of the economy. But the primary functions of government we need to get out of a lot of the irrelevant parts that government has their hands in. Autonomy should be the order of the day. That takes a lot of pressure off the government. You have to allow systems to build, to strengthen, and to run on their own. Government cannot have their hands in everything, because that is just a way of holding power and not delivering on any service. So when you ask what the issue is, I think that is the issue. We are a government that concentrates too much on power and acquisition of power rather than delivery of service to the people. So that is the primary. Federal government has the functions. We really have no reason there should be devolution of powers on every front. And that is what is essential to allow Nigeria to move forward, to be agile, and to move forward and to progress.
All right, thank you very, very much. I'm going to open the floor for questions. So those who want to ask questions for our presidential aspirant, Khadijah, should please raise their hands electronically, and so that we know those who are asking questions. And those who even have questions for the African Leadership Group, as it were, will also be happy to answer those questions and make those clarifications and so on and so forth. Let me just ask Khadijah another question at this point in time, and try and see really where her thinking is. Somebody is raising up their hands for questions. I can't see the person. Who is that person? Olu, if you can tell me from the back room who the person is.
Olumighty.
Vincent Arofo, okay. That is noted. Vincent, you are noted for questions. Who else is asking the question?
There is a guy there, Olumighty J. Olumighty J, Fabian George, and Benjamin Omeiza.
Okay, so Olumighty J, whoever that is. You want to ask a question very quickly?
Oh, hi there, Khadijah. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
My question is very simple, because where you are right now, I've been there. I actually contested in 2019. I moved back to Nigeria for a whole year to get ready. I was one of the few people that raised a new party, ANRP. Maybe you heard of it then. It was a computer party. I'm an IT analyst in the UK. And one of the things we were trying to do was to sensitize the youth. And The classic mistake we made, I'm hoping you won't make it, was to try and come up with a new party and change the Nigerian thinking. It's difficult. It costs a lot of money. I've had to come back to the UK and realize I need to join the main party to make a change from within those parties. And I've actually moved into PDP, and I'm actually contesting again. So I don't want you to make that classic mistake. Thinking the idea is great. Don't get me wrong, but I've been there. I've had about 6-7 years experience, and I realized the Nigerian society is not ready for what we are preaching. What you're preaching is fantastic, but the populists, they are not ready. So I rather prefer a situation. I wouldn't deter you from what you're saying. It makes sense. It's good to have a go. There's nothing wrong with that, because you will have changed a lot of lives by having a go. I did that. There are a lot of people that will encourage you, but it's going to be a totally different experience when you see what's on ground. I just hope whatever you're thinking. I sent a comment earlier on. I'm not sure if you read it, because I did a basic analysis of what Nigeria looks like. And I said, look, if you want to be president, there's 774 local governments. How are you going to cover that? Let's assume you're going to spend 1 million in each local government. That's 774 million already, excluding Abuja. They're talking of almost ₦1 billion. So I can see the look on your face.
I'll respond in a second.
These are practical things that a lot of us, especially those of us that have lived out of Nigeria for a long time, these are things we did not take into consideration. I only had 6 local governments in Ogun State. I contested for Ogun Central, and I contested against a sitting governor, Amosu. The first problem I had was I needed vehicles all across the 6 local governments. By the time I bought vehicles, I was down almost 50 million already, and I've not even started. It takes a lot of resources, So I'm not sure how you're going to get your funding, what you want to do, but Nigeria is huge, and it's going to cost. Don't let anybody deceive you. It doesn't cost money. It costs money, and don't let anybody deceive you. They're going to raise the money for you, except somebody that can give you ₦1 billion to kickstart what you want to do right now. But I wish you the best. I'll keep working.
Thank you.
Khadijah, do you have any response to that at this moment?
Yes. I do understand the idea that money and politics requires money. However, I do also know that we have the resources. When you talk about running a campaign, we started this campaign, and before we knew it, we had 5,000 volunteers. And then it just started increasing, 7,000. So we have, if you want to call it, boots on ground in all local governments. And these are people who, I don't think we realize how ready Nigeria is. These are people who have, like I said, time and chance it happens to us all. These are people who are willing to give their time, their resources, and their skills. The people that we're talking about that are spending a lot of money for the campaigns and stuff, they don't have the skills. They're still going to come back to people like us who have the skills and pay for it. This is where the money goes. We have the skills. So if we have people ourselves come together, we have everything it takes. And this is the idea that we're pushing forward. You don't need external validation. We have what it takes. We have the IT skills, we have the fundraising skills, we have the numbers. So when you talk about, I understand we still have to spend, and this is what we're doing. The spending is really for travel or what you call it, or staffing and these things. These are what the travel is for, but we are not campaigning. It's not your regular average campaign. It's not, the governments that we're talking about, the candidates or the so-called
we can't hear you again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Khadijah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so the politicians that we're talking about have been crowdfunding for years. When you think about our, per capita, our, what do you call it, our,
Income, GDP, income per
GDP,
capita.
yes, per capita. These monies have been crowdfunded, they've been stolen. We haven't been able to access it in healthcare, in education, per every day. So they're crowdfunding every day. And so it's not like they have monies these are monies. So it's now time for us to use our resources for ourselves. So it's not a situation where we don't understand we need money, but there's a certain amount of money that we don't have to worry about, which is in our skill sets. The others will crowdfund, and this is what we're doing. It has been helping us. But I do understand, and I'm thankful for giving me that insight, that from your experience. But like I say, we still need the older generation to help us with experience. We can't do it. The youth have the energy and the zeal and the vigor to drive this agenda, but we need experience. What we can't see standing up, our older generation can see sitting down, even lying down. So we need to work hand in hand, no doubt. However, the energy to do 20 million things in a day can only be derived by having the youth driving the economy. So yes, that's my answer to the money question.
Okay, Khadijah, thank you very much. We're going to take another question from Vincent, and I'm going to hand over to Sonny to continue with the questions and answers. Thank you very much. So Vincent, please, your question. Keep it short, straight to the point, please.
I need to unmute. Can you hear me now? I was muted. I was muted by the system. Good afternoon, Khadijah. I'd like to first of all commend you for this absolutely wonderful presentation, but also for your courage, which one can see abundantly. You touched on something that I'm very keen on, and you mentioned the idea and the need for an ideology. Could you sort of speak to that a bit? And then secondly, you also mentioned security. Can you sort of give us a bit more details as to what you intend to do regarding the security situation, which we all know is a very pressing problem? Otherwise, I really am 100% behind you, because I think that Nigeria's future is in the hands of the youth, and it's clearly the educated and well-positioned youth like yourself. So if you need me for support in any form or shape, I offer it right now. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I sent you a private note with that sort of thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. Okay, so when we talk about security, this is a primary function of the government. It's to protect its citizens and protect lives and property. So our current insecurity issues have cost us so much in terms of jobs, in terms of tourism, in terms of nobody wants to come to an insecure place. This has translated to poverty. This has translated to, all the work, mid-level, low-skilled workers, tech workers. This has translated in all. When we talk about ideology, it's about understanding that a threat, like I mentioned, a threat to justice somewhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That idea of common good, we need to get back to the mentality or the idea of working for common good. Everybody is individualistic now. So in terms of the, when we talk about healthcare, even our armed forces, our police, our, all our security agents, I have had cause to, interact with them and understand what their issues are. This all comes down to the gap in education. And when I say education, it's still this skills. Nobody tells you in terms of, nobody tells you how do I explain it? Nobody explains to you how to come up with community, how do I explain it? Your community determines what happens to the larger society. So the insecurity is aligned to the lack of education. It's aligned to proper funding for security, personnel, jobs. when you create an ideology where everybody believes that they are benefiting from the concept of common good, where everybody understands that the government is actually protecting their interests. They understand that the government is protecting their lives. It becomes a collective effort. The security agent should not be living less dignified than the average citizen. The security agent should be, and this ensures that when they carry the gun, they don't turn on the people that they're supposed to protect because of survival. So we need to move from survival mode to thrive mode. Nigeria has not created any assurances. There are no, when in England, there are some things that are for sure. You get education, at least basic primary and secondary education. There's healthcare. There are some, basic amenities that are for sure, that are guaranteed. In Nigeria, there are no guarantees. That's why everybody lives in survival mode. Even are still on survival mode because we haven't created the ideology of the common good, the common, the society at large is the goal and the mission of every citizen in it. Every citizen must build the nation. Every citizen must be your neighbor's keeper. You cannot think of yourself alone. If you're thinking of your neighbor, if you're thinking of your neighborhood, then no organized crime syndicate can come into your neighborhood and get create a footing in there. So the security agencies, we start with their welfare. We start with education. We start with, and these things are going to take, it's a continuum because government is a continuum. So when we start there, and then the security architecture understand that, okay, Nigeria is actually for us. Just like it's for the rich, it's for us, it's for the poor, it's for everyone. Then everybody now becomes a patriotic and nation builder in the country. We don't have, we also have to look at other ways in which we can become autonomous as a country. One of the ways was when I talked about education and making the education sector a bit more autonomous in terms of the tertiary. When it comes to tertiary education, government needs to remove their hands so that we can also identify other means by which we can close the skills gap. So in the creative sector, that is an area where in sports, creative, tech, that's an area where we can harness, in which we can also, all the energies of the youth that are not being channeled, we can get that and channel that, for our own common good. Once the youth have stuff they are doing, they have goals, they have, things that they need to create, they're becoming creative mentally and physically, then the insecurity level drops. And, but first things first, we need the political will. The government we have now is not willing to put down their personal greed, if you want to put it, or their personal interest for the common good. So this is what we need to first get to. We need to get there and disrupt the system from a system that is just, just comfortable in serving the 1% of the 1%, if you want to put it that way. And we need to redistribute our capacity, redistribute our resources so that we can build a nation that would be sustainable and a nation that will be less unsecure.
Okay. Thank you very much, Khadijah.
Thank you, Mr. Sonny.
Yeah, this is Sonny. I see Vincent was raising his hand. Maybe he wanted to say something more, but I'm sure he will have the opportunity to either type it into the chat. So thank you for the answers you're providing. And we might not have all the time in this forum, but I would like you to think about a few things, because before I go on to the next set of questions, we are going to be drilling you a bit, because running for the presidency of Nigeria, it's a very serious office you are seeking. And we want to be sure that the people that aspire to this office have thought it through from end to end. How ready will you say you are? Should this election hold next month and you win, would you say you are ready for this job? Should you win from next month, or do you still need some time? On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you? 10 being, I'm absolutely ready.
I'll say Mr. Sonny, I'll say I'm at a 9.5, because I do have access to the best skilled, the most patriotic, the best hands that the country has. So I'm not by myself.
Okay, so let's just drill that down a bit. Let's take the education sector, for example. Across Nigeria, how many people should be in school? How many people are in school? How many people are not in school? Primary, secondary, tertiary. How many schools do we need to cater for all the people that should be in school and are not in school? How much do we need to fund all of this? Should you be president, how would you address that education sector? Now, there are so many elements circling around that. So we're just taking that little sector to say.
Okay, so I know that we are, where is it? So we have 90, okay, 1,000, what's the second?
Okay, you can think about that. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I have the data here. I have
okay,
every,
right.
So I'm just trying to find it.
Okay.
Education. Okay, so let me just start with what is needed to be done. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we have here we started with policies, yeah, and 21st century policies, where critical thinking and creativity. One of the issues we have is our yes, you know, when you talk about education, we don't have to confine it to a building and where people have to, you know, a building. So we need to be innovative when it comes to education. So our curriculum is quite key in how we go about it. In Nigeria, we have missed it in terms of application of knowledge. So they teach you 2 + 2, 20 × 20, but they don't let you understand how you can apply that. So by infusing technology into our education system, we're able to take the vast number of uneducated, the vast number of out of school children. We can take them leap years ahead of where they are. So rather than teaching them a 2 + 2, you are giving them the idea of 2 oranges + 2 oranges. That's what you get in the market when you add 2 + 2, the application of the knowledge. And this also helps us. This is why we're not able, we have aeronautical engineers that cannot help in building planes or putting things together because of that application. So this is where we infuse, we get to infuse innovation with education. Then when it
I'll be back.
Let me just get the. Can you hear me? Okay. When it comes to, okay, so when it comes to the budget for education is currently 7%. Am I still on?
Yes, you are on. Continue.
Okay. Yeah. So the budget for education is currently 7%. and it needs to be increased to 15%. Apparently, 20% is.
You are frozen.
UNESCO standard when it comes to education sector. Our teachers, we need to up the standards of our teacher training and up the standards of our teacher colleges. So in my opinion, and this is something that I have thought about, we need to be disruptive. If we're really a disruptive government, we need to be as disruptive for the benefits of the country. So I believe that government should gradually reduce their control and increase autonomy when it comes to tertiary education. We don't have the funds to keep funding. I know Nigeria, we have a very big, we believe, or we are very interested when it comes to tertiary education, but Nigeria needs to focus on primary and secondary education, which is the foundation. We need to get that right and make it free across board, whereby public education is at standard with anywhere else in the world. Once you're able to give the children, and this is the future, once you're able to give them a foundation, a solid foundation in education, in critical thinking, like I said, education comes in different forms. Now, you can give scholarships and stuff to, the best of the best in terms of not just education, but sports-wise, creativity. This also engenders or endears people to be creative in their own sphere, in whatever it is that they want to do. It gives rise to creativity in the best form. So these are some of the things, the infrastructure, collaborations, learning environments. And, we looked at the Lee Kuan Yew model and how, to change when it comes to the skills gap. Education is really, really, really the building of skills and the application of the skills or the knowledge. So these are the areas in which that, when it comes to education, I wasn't able to get those key details, those details that you spoke about, but we're trying to look at it from a wholesome view and how we can get the best people who have who have been in this sector, who understand the sector, who also understand how developed countries have been able to build theirs, to come home and to serve in this capacity where we can build the next generation and hand over to them.
All right, thank you very much. That was very beautiful response. I will take the next 4 sets of questions and I would just like you to note them down. I will ask that they are very brief and you also be very brief in your response so that we can take a lot more people. I hope we are not stressing you.
No, this is my job.
All right, so we'll take Phoebe and George. After that, we'll take Elder Tunde, Akpolegun, Itoha Okoje, Temitope, Praising Child. So we'll take you in that order. Please try to keep your questions or your comment brief. So maybe a minute or thereabout, and Khadijah will take the question. So we'll take Phoebe and first. Phoebe and George. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Fabian.
All right. First of all, I would love to appreciate the African Leadership Group, Pastor Itua, for this initiative. Floretta, thank you so much for initiating something like this for
Gloria, God bless you. Good man.
Yeah, and I've met with the High Excellency KOA. I would say that after a long time, I became more patriotic about the new Nigeria again, when having lost my enthusiasm because of a lot of issues that is happening in Nigeria. So she's someone that has ignited my passion for new Nigeria and participation for the African Leadership Group. Apart from programs like this, what other channels, is the group taking to actually ensure that people select the right set of leaders for the country? For someone like me, I'm more passionate now about nation building. So what other channels is the group exploring to make sure that it supports credible candidates, to make sure that they canvass for political participation? So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian. We'll take Elder Tunde.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you. Well spoken, our speaker of today. Thank you for coming. Assuming you win the next election and you are very outspoken in the National Assembly or in whatever post that you are able to win election into, from what you have said so far, you understand the problems of Nigeria very well. People in the North, they say democracy is a game of majority. So they have secured the majority in 1999. So if you win election into the National Assembly, into the Senate, assuming your party, the third party you are talking about, wins the majority in the South, and you are all in the National Assembly, how can you bring forward ideas that is going to make Nigeria more equal and better in future, minding that the Northern are still holding the majority, and you require 2/3 to bring about changes in Nigeria? How will you go about it as a woman of intelligence and substance?
Thank you very much, Elder. Thank you. I hope Khadijah has noted that question, but she's contesting for the office of the president, Elder Tunde, not National Assembly. We'll take Itoha Okoje. Itoha, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, Pastor Itoha. Good evening, everybody. And good evening, Khadijah. I just want to say, very well done for your boldness and your bravery to put yourself in the political space at the kind of level that you're aspiring to. You definitely will serve as an inspiration, and God bless you for that. My question really is, you mentioned something when you were speaking. You said, we're now ready for change, and we've always been ready. There's every new election, there's always been a readiness for change. I do believe, in a sense, that we're ready for a different kind of change. I do agree with you on that. My question really is, what is your coalition government or party at this point doing about trying to change the mind shift of the people? Because there's a bias of you being a woman, there's a bias of you being a youth. So what do you have in place? What is the strategy for your coalition at this point in time? What are you going out there to? What's your campaign? What's your campaign flag going to? What's your campaign speak going to be concerning those two issues? Because everybody's ready for change, but we're also very, very stuck in our ways, and change is usually the hardest thing to achieve. Bearing in mind, oh, she's a woman, oh, she's a youth, oh, she comes from there. So what is the plan on ground? So that, a lot of us, of course, will support, but there are a lot of people who, as progressive as we all claim to be, a lot of us do say, oh, no, well, what can a woman do, and all of that. So what really is the plan? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Itoha Okoje. We'll take Temitope. Temitope, you can unmute yourself and ask your question or make your comment.
Hello, big thank you to the African Leadership Summit for this platform. It's always awesome here, and big thank you to Khadijah for coming on the show tonight and displaying great courage. It's very inspiring hearing you speak. I did note that you mentioned about the 3 things your government would want to concentrate on: security, health, and education. And that's brilliant. That's like the foundation of any progressive society. But what I want to ask you specifically is about the corruption that is already entrenched in the system and in the mindset of a lot of people. How are you dealing with that now? And how do you intend to deal with that if everything goes well and you get into government? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's just one more person. Maybe I'll just join that to the fray before you answer. Prince Davidson, if you are there, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, and she will take all of them together. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Prince Davidson from Atlanta, Georgia. So my question would be, of course, I have heard that those 3 items you mentioned as, your major focus with regards this mission. So my first question would be, what do you understand by systemic functionality, with reference to national development? I mean, based on the subject Nigeria, what do you understand by systemic functionality with reference to national development? And then secondly, what's your roadmap towards creating a functional and working system that can actually accommodate these 3 aforementioned items that are, the central point of your campaign? So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Khadijah, I hope you got all the questions.
Yes, I did.
Okay, you can respond. Ibrahim Pam will come back to you in the second set of questions. Go ahead and respond.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sunny. The first question by Fabian, I think, was to Pastor Ito, actually. Channels to support candidates. Definitely, we also, at the end of the day, we also know that the reason why we came out as independents was because we are trying to ensure that our candidacy also helps promote other candidates. Like I mentioned, regardless of party lines and all that, as long as they're credible candidates and they come out, I think it's only time that we don't allow those divisions to keep us from development. So we are supporting as we go, as we travel around. We are also encouraging people to run, because we understand that ambition is key when it comes to nation building. People have to offer themselves, they have to offer them services, they have to get up to want to run for office for any national development conversations to even start. The next is talking about the North and majority and the South. And, I understand how our thinking remains that the North is a majority, and how, right now we need to start looking at majority and about the value adding. So majority is not a game of numbers anymore. It's now a game of value adding services and value adding potential. So we have to start looking. This is also going to drive competition. So when you talk about, the National Assembly and all that, the major point is that whenever that you do have a bill or a law that you're trying to put in place, it requires political will. And this is why I keep talking about political will. Any other country, when you want to drive a bill about rights, or the gender bill or anything, the president gets up, makes comments. You're not trying to twist arm anybody, but you talk to the citizens to let them know why this bill that is being proposed is important. The vice president, they speak on it. If it's important to governance, if it's important to nation building, you speak on it. You don't be quiet about it. You speak. You let the constituencies that these constituents represent know how important it is for these bills that we're speaking about to be passed. And this is giving the power back to the people and keeping them informed on what needs to be done at every point in time. So regardless, however we do it, we are going to be, I wish to be the glue that brings everybody to the table, even if we're going to argue, but we're going to find solutions to our nation's problems right now. Then we talked about I got a question on our coalition strategy and our campaign message. We noticed that there are lots of theatrics going on in the political sphere. We have a lot of, people visiting, and I understand this is what we know, this is what we understand as politics, but we need to start going back to consultations that are meaningful, consultations that are that speak to the issues. Photo opportunities are not enough. We need to know what it is when you go visit someone. We need to ask questions. What are you doing for my people? What is it that you want to offer us in this fair? I understand that you can reach anywhere you want to reach, no doubt, but we need to start asking questions. And for my campaign, we are going to the people, we're bringing power back to the people. So, when we talk about, there are captains of industries that are doing great things. You have people who are, in the manufacturing industry sector, in the business sector, in the entertainment sector. There are people who have 70-something million followers. This is what is regarded as influential. This is what is regarded as power. And these are the people that we will consult with. People who have ideas to bring to the table. When you go to manufacturing industry sector, you have the Institute of Quantity Surveyors. These are the people we will consult with. People in the diaspora, people in people living with disability. These are people that are important and would contribute magnanimously to the nation building. So these are the people that I feel are more important rather than political actors. And politics, we need to fix our politics. It's not going to be politics as usual. So our campaign message is generally a message of restoration, a message of belief in Nigeria again. Everybody, we must start believing in ourselves, believing in our capability, and then believing in Nigeria again. That's how it seems like our knack for patriotism or our idea of patriotism has been wiped off by the political actors and every other thing. Then I think it was Madam Timitope that spoke about corruption. Corruption is not something that we would, once you're able to, we believe that corruption would be crossed out or would be dissipated by building functional systems and functional institutions. We're not going to, bother ourselves with, concentrating all our efforts on, fighting corruption. No, we're going to build systems, build the ideology whereby there are consequences. There's no need to, to talk about what needs to be done. You just need to put action. You just bring, it's action-based. So there are consequences to every action that is corrupt, and there are consequences to, decisions that people make. And maybe there are not enough institutions to, maybe people feel like, there are no institutions or there are no systems to house, people in terms of people with misconduct. But once, you strengthen the judiciary, and we have the best hands when it comes to judiciary and the law enforcement, and we have some people that are, that are, how will I put it, they're the best in those fields that we have enlisted. We will say we have enlisted. They are part of our campaign. They are part of, the driving force, and they would handle the judiciary very. They're capable to handle the judiciary, and they're capable. They do not. They are not. They don't. What's the word? They are not big. They're not.
They are not.
Yeah, they are not. I'm trying to find the word, but they are not betrothed to any party or anybody. So they will function at maximum functionality. And this still comes back to the next question on systemic functionality. Without law, there is no order. And when you talk about functionality in national development, this is what a functional system does in every system that we have, in every infrastructure or every systematic. I mean, every system that we have, there have to be laws and there have to be policies that ensure that people stay in line. So systemic functionality is quite important. It's one of the most important things, I think, when it comes to, but it involves identifying people, pleading, if the word is pleading, to them to get up. And we have to get up and serve their countries, their country. We cannot put round pegs in round holes if we do not identify and plead, and people heed to this call. People heed to this plead, where you get up and you are ready to serve. There are so many people in all countries. There are so many people, even in Nigeria here, that, I mean, there are some countries that if you remove Nigerians from their health system, it will feel it will practically collapse. So if we are able to plead to people to come to help us build the nation, and the ones we have here, all the skills and professionals we have there, we have to ensure that they are, we identify and that their voices matter, their decisions stand. They are not going to be, wish-washy about, policy, or wish-washy about the decisions of the judiciary or the decisions of law security agents. We need to ensure that they are autonomous. They must be independent. We must trust their judgments, and we must push for a functional system. So this is what I stand for. It's not a situation where I'm feeling like I don't understand the weight of this, but I believe that once we do have the political will and we have predictability in leadership, you have to have a leader that you can predict, a leader that you understand. There's a psychological contract, there's a social contract, there's an economic contract, there's accountability. Once you have that, and where you put your leader, where you tell them to go, they go, and they represent you adequately to your benefits, to your satisfaction, I think systems would be able to stand, and they'll be able to, they stand on trust. They stand on trust, the trust that they know that the government and the system is for them. So these are values that I hold dear and I hold in high esteem.
Okay, thank you very much, Khadijah. I see that I think Prince Davidson is still saying, maybe you can type exactly what you are talking about, because he's saying that he still needs some clarity on systemic functionality with reference to national development on Nigeria. But I will take the next set of questions from 3 gentlemen, and I'll be happy if you can keep your questions straight to the point, sharp and simple. Ibrahim Pam, Emmanuel Mok, I thought there was a third person, but yeah, Bimbo Ashiru. So I'll take those 3 sets of questions, and after Khadijah has answered those, if we still have time, maybe we can take any, but if not, we'll just have a final question for you, and probably know how people can be part of this campaign, those that want to join you in what you're doing, and all that. So let's start with Ibrahim Pam. You can ask your question, Ibrahim.
Thank you, Sonny. Well, look, mine is not a question, it's a comment. Khadijah, I would like to offer you my sincere encouragement. I think you're spearheading a critically important movement for the greater future of Nigeria. I have a lot of admiration for what you're doing. As you have said, the new Nigeria must be built on the foundations of a new ideology. So I encourage you to be faithful to that new ideology, to recreate our country. The task is incredibly difficult, and it's going to be very challenging. And I know you're prepared. So do not be daunted by it. And I want to encourage you to be strengthened in the knowledge that you carry the hope of a nation. As the Chinese say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So I encourage you to take that step boldly, and God will be with you.
Amen.
Very best wishes to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ibrahim Pam. Emmanuel Mock, are you still there? He seemed to have disappeared a bit. Let's take Bimbo Ashu.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I thought maybe Ibrahim Pam was actually thinking with me. I mean, those are the things I actually wanted to say, but I will add few things to that. I like your courage, and I'll be honest, I like your courage. I like your vision. I like your mission. I like your passion. But because of Nigeria of today, we will always have these problems. People will start discouraging you that, oh, you don't have the money, you don't have this. But one question I want to ask you, you have your movement. I mean, the charlatans you put in the National Assembly, they've said that if you don't have XY, you can't contest to be president of Nigeria. So that means you need to have to go and do treasury, because if you don't have billions of naira, now for you to become a president, you must have 50 million naira to buy your form ticket. I'm not asking questions, I'm just offering my own advice. So you shouldn't be discouraged with that. So you can now form your own fourth force. They've had the third force now. The people that have actually cleaned the old system, they are forming another third force. So you can even form your own fourth force. Get the youth together. And the only way you can achieve this is to encourage everybody to have their PVC. Let them have their cards. Because we can talk like UN and come back tomorrow saying the same thing. But the most important thing for us to get rid of all these people is to have a card so that we can vote. And then the youths, you have a lot of population, to encourage your people, be diverse about this. Forget it, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, get everybody together and come out with a common ground, a force. And I pray that the good Lord will guide you and support you guys. But I don't think it's the time for you now to achieve that. But it's a system, like Brian Pam said, it's a focus for the future. So that you don't look at 2023, look at what will happen, but you can be a big voice for between now and 2023 to determine the fate of this country. So you can work with your group and achieve that. I wish you good luck, and the good Lord will guide you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for your comments. Khadijah, we are taking it home now, and really thank you for the time so far on the platform and what you have said. I like the fact that this is the month that we are celebrating the women and what the women have done in Nigeria and in the world at large. And you have said women bring life, that women incubate, they carry pregnancy for 9 months, they understand the process, and they bring to birth. And anywhere women are, okay, Manuel Mock, you are back. We looked for you. And women bring to birth. I like that quote. I wrote it down, and I'm looking at that to say that you understand the risk of what you are doing. Okay, Emmanuel, you can ask your question very quickly or make a comment before we begin to wrap.
Good evening all. Khadijah, I'm quite impressed with your grasp of the issues and the boldness of your aspiration. And I pray, like the last person did, that God will prosper your way. I just want to, as a serious nationalist that I see myself as, Nigeria is a complex country, and it has two divides, almost as if Nigeria is 4 countries in one, struggling to evolve. So really, as we all speak of a new Nigeria, it's very necessary that we bear this in mind and the nuances. What I'm getting at here is 2023 is key. It's a time that the South should produce the next president. But if you see the waters, it's very mired with a lot of acrimony up and down. I, for one, am saying that if we, as the South, do not focus our resources and energies so that at the elections we are able to win. I know you have a strong agenda, a strong person, educated, bold person. But I'm suggesting that why not we look at the candidates that are most likely to win from the South and all bring our voices and capacities so that at that election, we actually do win. Because if too many Southern candidates come out who do not achieve the scale or the size required of votes to win, enter there, as each person takes 1,000, 500,000 votes and all over, what ultimately happens is the South loses again. And it's important we don't lose in 2023. I don't know what you see about that. I want you to talk to that challenge, which is a very serious challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you for the comment. You know, I share your sentiments. However, I believe that Nigeria needs a competent leader. I don't think we should just we should be thinking about, you know, region. We're still thinking regional. We're still thinking, you know, personality, if that's the word. Well, at the end of the day, the reason one of I'll say my unique points is that I disrupt all these. I'm an anomaly when it comes to this, because I also believe that women need a vote. We have a constituency which is big enough, which should carry. We also do have a vote in terms of we do have a block that we should be able to fulfill. So if you have representation for men, if you have representation for states, we have representation for South, we have representation for North, women too should have a representation. And that's what I represent. I understand where you're coming from. So it's either, so you can look at it as either North, South, or women. It's also a block. And right now we are looking at a competent leader. When you look at the polls, all I'm looking at is I need to see competence there. I need to see that experience that we call competence. It's not really competence. It's experience. So it's decades of incompetence. It's just decades of being in the corridors of power or being in power. There are some people that if you remove power from them, they can't build wealth, they can't survive. So this is survival for some people. Well, for some people like myself, it's nation building. And that's where I think we need to go to now, sir. Thank you for the comment.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have spoken very, very well. So as we begin to take this home, we really like to appreciate you while we ask a few of the final questions. And while all of us on this platform will wish you well, we will be having other presidential candidates come on this forum between now and the election time. At least everyone that has indicated interest or will indicate interest before the parties nominate who their candidates are, would like to have them on our platform. So if there are people here, you know anyone who is running under any party, we would like to have them and we would like to know what they think the problems of Nigeria are and how they intend to solve it. Whether they are running for president or they are running for governors or other seats, we would like to interact with a few of them so that we can really drill down and get them to answer some questions for us. So Khadijah, as we begin to wrap this up, we'd like to get your thoughts on a few national issues. I will deliberately stay away from the politics of the big two parties, and you have said the ideologies do not agree with you, so you are staying away from those. But a big elephant in the room in Nigeria today is the issue of what do you call it now? The country coming together. Do you think we should go back to the regions? Should the country be restructured? Restructuring, do you have that on your banner? What are you going to do? Should you become the president? With this agitation for restructuring, in view of all the various elements that are struggling here and there?
Well, my opinion still remains that, regional autonomy, state autonomy is quite important. Depending on, there are a few aspects of it that you can speak about. There's some of the aspects that require that the states or the region should be economically viable. Now, depending on the viability, it depends on how autonomous they should be allowed to be. So at the end of the day, I feel like autonomy is always a good way to go when you come, because competition does breed development. So there are some aspects when you think about it, when you talk about it in our constitution. Our constitution definitely requires that, even though we'll be changing or we're amending in little bits, it also ensures that we are able to, it's a document that we all agree on. So if we're going to agree on, if there are agitations and you see that there are agitations, that means that document needs to be reviewed, and we need to sit down and we construct what our agreement with each other is. So yes, there are parts of the autonomy that of autonomy, if you want to put it, or restructuring, that I agree with, and I think most of the parts I do agree with. There are parts that still are shaky when it comes to. There are different parts. I would not go into them now, but there are parts that I do believe that autonomy is important for the country.
Okay, all right, great. So you support restructuring?
Yes, I do, in different forms. Yes.
The details we'll need to work out, because whether there should be state police, resource control, and all these things.
You spoke about it, yes.
Yeah, so we need to break them down. We need to know from the various candidates. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us, and we do wish you the very best in your campaigns. If I may address you, Your Excellency, one of the things we see is the moment you declare that you want to run for an office, people begin to address you by the title of that office.
Yes, I guess.
The question is, how do you oil that structure that begin to address you? So maybe people show up at your gate every morning and they are like, Your Excellency, you are already there. You are going to be the first.
No. You don't encourage that, though.
Okay. You don't encourage that.
No.
Okay. All right. Great. So thank you very much for your time with us. Any last words you want to leave us with? How can people be a part of what you are doing? Should they want to join? Should they want to be part of it? Volunteers to support you? What do you have for them? Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for the feedback and all the insights and advice. I appreciate it. We do need your help. We can't run this race by ourselves. We are crowdfunding, like I mentioned earlier. So every little naira counts. And for those in diaspora, every little dollar, every little pound counts. We have our account details on our website, www.kolnigeria.com. KOL being Khadijah Okunnu-Lamidi. So www.kolnigeria.com. And then our social media pages are KOL_Nigeria. And then my personal one is at Khadijah_Nigeria. And then same with Twitter, same with Facebook, KOL_Nigeria. Please, we need all the funding. And then I would like everybody to flex their influence. Everybody around you, we don't realize how much influence we have. Everyone around you, please ensure they have their PVC. Every single person in your office, in your home, everywhere you go, we have to all be the carriers and the messengers of a new Nigeria. So we must be aware that if you don't get your PVC before June, then you cannot participate in the 2023 elections. So any registration after June is null and void for the 2023 elections. So we have from now March to June to register. It's online. It's quite easy. And I think we can also do it for our anybody who doesn't have access to the internet. We can help in that. It's one of the easiest ways we can do our bits. And then it's also important that we vote our conscience as we go along. It's time for to put out politics of money, pretty much. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you very much, Khadijah. I think I can see people already giving you a standing ovation. We look forward to calling you Your Excellency, and we wish you all the best in your campaigns. Be rest assured that we'll be monitoring the progress of your campaign, and like some people have offered, please try and reach out to them and see how you can all work together. I want to thank everyone for being part of this program today. I am sure we have interacted with one of the aspirant hopefuls, and we'll be looking forward to having other aspirants in due course. I would also like to announce that we had sent out messages to a couple of people. We are having a call for those that have volunteered to be part of the steering committee for African Leadership Group. You may have gotten a mail from us. If you haven't and you volunteered, please, we'll be happy if you would send a mail again to our email address. Olu, you can put it up there so that you can be part of the meeting. We're having a formal meeting, if not on Saturday, I think on Monday next week, so that we can kickstart. We are raising funds to push out and propagate the fact that everyone needs to be a part of this change that we are preaching. Khadijah, thank you for that information you offered, that you cannot register after June this year to be part of the election in 2023. Maybe very soon. To enter this platform, you must show your voter's card before we can allow you in. So if you're in the waiting room, we will demand your voter's card. If you don't have it, if you don't have your PVC, we will not allow you into this meeting. But please, let's all try and register and have our voter's card, at least for whatever it's worth. Let's not be slack. Like she said, it's online, it's simple, and you can get your voter's card. So thank you, everyone. Khadijah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
have a good and successful campaign. I see
thank
everyone.
You, Pastor Itwa.
Yes.
Thank you,
Pastor
Mr. Sonny.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ibrahim Pam, thank you. I see you, my brother. Prince Davidson, maybe we can talk offline, and if you want to connect to Khadijah offline and ask her more questions, because I see he still has some questions for you. That's okay. Yeah, that's all Prince Davidson. Yeah, okay. You still have some questions for how you can connect. So thank you very much, everyone. Emmanuel Mock, thank you. Auntie Olabamibo, thank you. Shade Fadesimi, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very
so much.
God bless you. Yes. Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Night. Yeah. Okay. Those are our account details. For those that want to send in their contributions, please send it to the account. Olu, you can display them again. I think, Olu, this is GT, right? Is this GT Bank or
Bank? GT Bank.
GT Bank.
Yes.
So we have a Naira account, USD account, GBP, and Euro. We receive all currencies, and we support who you say we should support. So if you say we should support Khadijah, we'll give her a part of it, and we'll use it to create enlightenment and awareness for people to register and vote. Thank you very much. Or you can snap this and have it on your phone so that you can simply make your contribution anytime you are ready. The name of the account is Try Africa Empowerment Foundation. Try Africa, not, that's the name there. Try Africa Empowerment Foundation. That's the name of the account. And we'll be transparent, we'll be open. We'll let you know how much we've collected, exactly what we are doing with it. After all, this is what we are preaching, and we want to live by those tenets. So thank you very much once again. God bless you all.
Yeah, Auntie Bambo, we thank you for everything, and we are looking forward to more. God bless you.
Okay. By J@gmail. Prince Davidson, we have seen your email. All right. We'll connect with you. God bless you. IB, thank you for joining. I can see you. Coach Bingpe, I would like to connect with you. I like coaches. If Coach Bingpe can hear me. Thank you for coming.
Okay, Pastor Sonny.
All right.